Well, speaking of things on Amazon Prime that take place in a dystopian future,
Yes.
so have you guys heard about this new Project Hail Mary thing? I'm amazed that no one's been talking about it. It just came out earlier this year.
I know. Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely no big theatrical run. Definitely no hype around this movie and its audiobook and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. So finally, this thing is available to watch on Amazon streaming without having to spend extra money. And so I ended up watching it with the family on July 4th. So then I said to Daniel, "Hey, Daniel, want to join me so we can talk about this thing together?"
And I said, sure, why not?
And you're right, Ninja. There are so many video essays. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say that the ones I recommend are about the speculative biology of this series because it is extremely creative. And also one from, oh, it's here, not Disparu. Who's the other British guy?
Oh, not Mahler, was it?
No, Mahler hasn't come up with one that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah, Little Platoon, that's it.
Yeah.
So, Little Platoon had a good video about it, but it's definitely one that you can't watch until you've actually seen the movie. So I had actually been holding off on it until I had seen the movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so this is a nice little combination of creative voices here. It's based on a book written by Andy Weir, who also did The Martian. And then you have Phil Lord and Christopher Miller teamed up to direct this thing. And
Yeah.
you might know them from such blockbuster, immediately successful franchises as Clone High and also the Spider-Verse movies, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah. And they also did the Lego movie, 21 Jump Street, and of course, famously, they were the original directors on Solo, a Star Wars story, and then they got fired.
And then the movie had to be reconstructed from almost nothing. And boy, the further away we get from that, and the more success and laurels that these two get heaped on their shoulders, the more it just makes you wonder what the hell could possibly have been in that movie
Yeah.
where Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm decided it was worth firing them over it.
Yeah, and then and completely redoing the movie. Yeah.
They also produced Sheep Detectives, really fun movie. I saw a trailer for that and I wasn't sure what to think
Yeah.
of it, but if you liked
Yeah.
it, we might have to give it a go sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
So this movie or this review, I'm going to assume that you're in the target audience of people who did not see it in theaters and have not rented it yet. So we will have an initial spoiler-free section of it.
yes. Yeah, so the basic plot of the movie is we've got Ryan Gosling's character, Ryland Grace, who he wakes up on a ship. He has absolutely no idea like why he's on the ship, what he's doing there, and finds out that the other crew members on board are no longer with us. And so he's trying to figure out what's going on because he has like no memory whatsoever. And throughout the movie, he starts getting pieces of his memory back, and we find out he's a middle school science teacher who was actually he's actually has a PhD in molecular biology, but he kind of reminded me of the way the character was set up. Kind of reminded me of Dr. Daniel Jackson from the Stargate franchise. For those of you who didn't watch any of the Stargate stuff, Daniel Jackson was an Egyptologist who had a theory. His big theory was that the pyramids in Egypt were actually landing platforms for spaceships. Which, by the way, there are some people out there who actually do believe that. But of course, because he has those ideas, he's just been completely laughed out of academia. And kind of the same thing with Grace. You know, he has a lot of theories that got him laughed out of academia, so now he's teaching middle school science. And we learn that our son is slowly dying because of these microscopic black dots.
Yep, the astrophages who they are okay. So I would say that some of this movie slash book's biggest claim to fame is just the sheer creativity of its creature design work. Because the idea of having a bunch of these little microorganisms that can not only survive in space but also propagate themselves in space and travel between the stars is very fascinating.
Oh yeah.
According to some of the video, like the science-oriented videos I watched about this, you kind of have to yada yada some of the physics aspects of it, because well, what they find is that they basically have a impermeable, they have an impermeable shell that keeps them from. It basically lets them survive in the rigors of space, and they can basically survive any amount of radiation as long as they're alive.
Yeah.
Which is why they can do things like go up to the sun, absorb energy, fly to Venus, pick up some CO2 so they can reproduce, fly back to the sun to pick up more energy.
Right. Yeah.
And so what the humans figure out, probably shouldn't have said that, but that way, but it was what the scientists figure out is that there is a nearby star that seems to be the only one in the whole quadrant that is not being affected by this. So they said their Hail Mary plan is to send a small crew on a ship that is powered by the astrophage as a fuel source to go on out there and investigate and maybe find something that they can bring back to Earth to help save them.
Right. And what was I going to say? But yeah, and then that's where it picks up where and then when Grace wakes up on the ship, and then he eventually does get there, of course, but he's got to do everything. Like he's got to pilot the ship, and he's got to do everything in there, even though he's not trained to do it.
Right. He is completely isolated and a little bit effed, honestly. So,
yeah.
But that's kind of the basis of the movie. But the real heart of this thing is when he runs into an alien spaceship that's been hanging out in the same solar system.
Right. Yeah. And then there are a few minutes in there where they're trying to make contact with each other, but they keep messing up, because he's not really entirely sure what's going on, and then but then eventually he meets the alien. What was it called? And Iridian.
Iridian, I think, yeah, because like they're from Eridani, I want to say.
Yeah, and of course he affectionately names him Rocky because he looks like a rock on 4 legs.
Yep. Rocky is a amazing bit of puppetry, actually. Like he is apparently not CGI. He is a Jim Henson puppet that had like 6 puppeteers.
Yeah. And so they basically they start to they figure out a way to communicate with each other, and then it kind of turns into like a buddy comedy kind of thing, because they're just like butting heads and with each other, and then they kind of have like the cultural differences, and
yeah, like, there's a lot of fun creativity to how the Rocky's race works. Like I'll just say one is that he gets very nervous when he's alone, because when his species goes to sleep, they are completely unconscious until they are done with whatever repair work they're doing internally. So it's like a cultural thing that when someone is asleep, you watch over them.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of the non-spoiler thing. So you would get all that basically from the trailer. So I think we both agreed that this was a better movie than The Martian.
Yeah.
And it's because of how they handled the back on Earth scenes so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you had a take on it earlier that I was going to let you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like in The Martian, they had the back on Earth scenes were basically like all this office politics stuff. Like well, if we make this decision, that could really, really impact our,
Right.
the agency, and I could lose my job, and
Do we even let people know he's there? Maybe by the time we get there, he's probably dead anyway. Maybe we should just cover this up.
oh yeah, yeah, and like yeah, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care if this guy loses his job or not.
Right. Get back to Matt Damon
Yeah,
trying to survive on Mars. That was the interesting part.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, this movie didn't do that. Like it was more about it was more about the space stuff, and then the back on Earth stuff was more like trying to solve the problem of what's going on, trying to find the solution, and then yeah, yeah,
Right. And it's very fun to just watch the logical progression of everybody.
yeah,
Also, because his excuse was that he had amnesia because of the coma he was induced into. And the reason he was alone was that he was the only one that actually woke up from the induced coma.
yeah,
Um, you like there is a spoiler for this movie that I don't think I'm going to share, that the movie would have come across completely differently if they'd had all of the lead up scenes as act one and then started act two with him in space waking up.
yeah.
But it's a good reveal that you get.
Mhm.
And it makes the rest of the movie so much more interesting.
Yeah,
Um, I've started listening to the audiobook, and they have explanations for a lot of little things um, that I wondered about. Like, for example, when he wakes up, well, uh, he's Ryan Gosling. He's buff.
yeah,
He doesn't look like he's been under a coma for 3 years. Well, the reason for that is that he actually was being stimulated by electrodes the whole time, which they don't really go into in the movie. Like, there's just not time for all the technical details that Andy Weir thought up
right, yeah,
that are rewarding. Now, you thought it dragged a bit. Personally speaking, the 3 hours of the movie felt like two to me, which I'll call a big compliment.
mm,
Um, but I really dug his relationship with Rocky. The other improvement over The Martian was that they didn't ever use science as a verb, as I recall, in this one.
no, they didn't.
Like, no offense to Andy Weir, like it feels like he talks to people on Reddit a lot because his dialogue can come across as very Redditor
Yeah,
or slightly stilted. Here it worked because it was less grating, in my opinion, but also because a lot of the quirky dialogue was reserved for Rocky, an alien talking through a translator machine. So, of
yeah,
course, you can have a lot of fun with mistranslations or half translations and things like that,
yeah, yeah,
and slightly stilted wording.
yeah. Pump the fist. That's not right.
Amaze, amaze, amaze.
Yeah,
Like, really, the only plot hole that I haven't seen an explanation for is so the two alien races have different knowledge and skills the other one doesn't.
yeah,
Um, Supposedly, Rocky's people don't know what radiation is, and
yeah,
because they get by on an advanced form of echolocation, so they don't have sight, so they don't really have a concept of a lot of things. My questions are: how did you discover the problem in space in the first place? How do you know what stars are? How
yeah,
did you know how to get there in your spaceship? How did you navigate? And how did you see Ryan's ship was even in the same system as you? Now, I
yeah,
expect answers for these when I'm reading the book, but they were things that occurred to me just watching the movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
And I can't think of an explanation right now. Yeah,
right, because if you don't know what radiation is, you can't exactly have sensors on ready to go.
right. Yeah,
Anyway, if that's the man, I have forgiven sci-fi movies way worse than that. So if that's the worst that this movie does, like, go give it a watch. There's a reason this thing was a phenomenon a few months back.
oh yeah, yeah. I would have liked to have seen it in IMAX.
Yeah, that man. Yeah, some of these shots would have been stunning.
Yeah,
mostly filmed without green screens, maybe even entirely without green screens, apparently.
Oh, that's great. Oh,
That might be why it was actually a surprisingly expensive movie. Like I think it was 175 million or something like that.
yeah. Let me look here. You usually have the budget on IMDb. Well, IMDb says 200 million.
Oof. Yeah, so this thing was probably not profitable in the theaters, but Amazon is probably just happy that it was well received. Because, I
Yeah,
mean, it got me to buy an audiobook off of Amazon, so that's,
yeah. I know Andy Weir will be happy about that.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're behind the times like us, go get with the times, give it a watch. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed.